Hello, everybody. This is Bina Bendale, and I am so excited to have Ranjan here today. As many of you may or may not know, Ranjan is one of the most authentic person I've ever met, but he's also the authentic influencer coach. And he is the organizer for the entire Ultimate Experience in Mumbai. And he is just a blessing to have here with me. I got to know him in Mumbai back in January, and he was like a breath of fresh air when I met him in person. And we've been staying in connections ever since. So I'm so excited to have this conversation with him. And first, I just want to introduce you. So thank you for being here, Ranjan. And then I'm gonna read your bio in just a few minutes. I just wanted to say thank you and being here.
Thank you so much for having me here on your show, Bina. And I love this invitation. I love this presence. I love this conversation that we are going to create already. And thank you so much for having me, Bina. I'm excited.
Yeah. So first things first, guys, I want to read his bio that he read because honestly, he has done so much in his life that I have to read it. Otherwise, I'm going to mess it up and butcher it. And guess what? I'm not going to do that. So I want to read what he wrote to me. Okay. So with over 25 years of experience of personal growth, training, learning, developing, Ranjan Kumar is focused on accelerating autonomy while as part as enabling self-growth experts and leaders in their endeavors to optimize their innate potential. He worked at the Digital Transformation Advocate and Chief Learning Officer at how do you pronounce that?
Acrevia.
Thank you. Previously. While technology advancement and cheap processing powers in everyone's pocket will change everything, Ranjan is curious as to how this is going to align with most valuable components of the business and life, which are intangible. The mission, the vision, the story, the brand, the communication, and the intelligent process that organizes people and things effectively to get something done effectively. Efficiently and then effectively. Sorry, guys, I'm fully dyslexic. This is where we go. Ranjan is also a professional coach on the authentic influence and helps professionals, experts amplify their own personal impact without being sleazy through a being-centered approach, focusing on clarity, connection, and creation. I want to pause right here. That is beautiful. That is like when you talk about people and you go up and talk about influencers and stuff like this, this is such a beautiful thing that you're gifting to the world. I just wanted to acknowledge you for that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. With over 25 years of firsthand experience in and out transformation, he has successfully touched thousands of lives through his talks, books, workshops, and one-on-one coaching sessions, and has helped people in their real voice and connecting with their authentic selves. He has traveled across the world as a speaker and shared events, stages with renowned experts like Roma Sharma, Steve Hardison, David Sang, and Tom Panniers. I apologize, Tom. Becky Robbins, Alok, Gary Muller, etc. My goodness, this name goes along. Your list is very long. I love it. On February 25th, 2023, he created the first ever summit Being Summit in India by the name The Ultimate Coach Experience India in Mumbai as a tribute to his mother, and over 150 top business leaders and coaches flew from all over the world to attend this event, and a total of 350 attended this event.
And you were one of them.
I was. It was a blessing to be there. But $25,000 fundraised through the tickets and was donated to support these girls from the red light area of Mumbai who have become victims of child sex trafficking in Mumbai. That organization still to this day holds dear to my heart. And we're going to talk more about Kranti and what we've done and where the money went to as we have our conversation today. In GSI, he started a huge saga as an outstanding speaker and a chief craft, and then continued it as an outstanding zone trainer, top outstanding national trainer, and finally, iconic trainer. He recently invited as one of the most the top 11 trainers in the country to speak at this JC Talks organized by the JCI India. He wrote his second book. Wow, you have a second book out? I knew about. Okay. He wrote his second book in 2017. Hit Your Restart Button: How to Reinvent Yourself and Start Living a Zero Limit Life, and turned into the #1 book in Amazon, new release within 15 days, and is released his second Amazon bestseller in the essential psychology category. He is now on a mission to create worldwide community of authentic influencers with the purpose of accelerating autonomy. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for our guest speaker.
Thank you so much, Bina. Thank you so much for having me on this show.
Oh my goodness. I am
Yes.
so excited for this, Ranjan. First and foremost, I want to acknowledge you for the Ultimate Coach experience. I want to acknowledge you for that because that's a big, it's a big task.
It was a big task, and at the same time, if you look at it like an event, it was a big task. But Bina, to be very honest, the journey was more important to me than the event itself. It was the journey that transformed my life. It was the journey that transformed my understanding of life. It was a journey that kind of summed up the whole experience of my 25 years. It was like 1997, I consciously started my journey of personal transformation. And I would say that this 1.5 years, or this journey of that last 9 months, from 24th of May last year, when I announced this event, from then to 25th of Feb, and it's still continuing. And every next day is something new for me. And I would say that this 1 year, it has had an impact that's equivalent or even more than the last 25 years.
Wow. We were supporting Kranti. That's the organization that we were fundraising for in Mumbai. Raised $25,000 for them. Do you want to tell the world where that money went? Because I'm telling you guys, all of us that were in that room, there was not a dry eye when these girls spoke and who were present in the room. And we were able to witness something super, not only transformational within us, but seeing this transformation unfold to the world and how this energy brought in. But I want Ranjan to really say where this money went, because it made me cry when I saw your live to see what was being created with. And you guys remember, $25,000 is a lot of money in Mumbai. And that it's like almost like a lifetime of, not almost a lifetime, but it's a large amount of money where we're able to help these women, men and women, to go through and to give them a safe place to be, to get them out of these red light situations. So Ranjan, what got created from this and what happened with Kranti?
Sure, Bina. It still brings tears to my eyes because I have been there. I have spoken with them. I personally went to the place where they were evicted from, and I know I wanted to be of help to them as early as possible. And imagine the girls who have themselves been abused, who have grown up through those tough phases of life, and they're children of these prostitutes from red light area of Mumbai. And once the owners of their flats, they come to know that these are daughters of the prostitutes of red light area, they are evicted from that place. And you have a lady like Robin Chaurasia, a veteran, US defense veteran, and she is committed to help them. She is committed to create better lives for them. And you have girls so much committed that some of them have grown up, and now they have come back to Kranti Foundation, and now they have joined hands with Robin Chaurasia to help these girls. And I was actually fortunate that I connected through an influencer from Meenal Sachdev from UK, connected Fiona Ross to Robin Chaurasia, and I connected with Robin Chaurasia. And all of this money went to help to create a permanent residence, a permanent house for these girls. In fact, there were other organizations also who helped them after
Yeah.
this recent eviction. But the money that we gave was so rightly timed for them that they were desperately in need of our help, and that's exactly when we handed over the money to them. And very recently, I was flown by them to this place called Dharmshala, the place of His Holiness
Yeah.
Dalai Lama. And oh my goodness, you should have seen, that's a 4-storied building, and this is going to create them, it's like the first time the girls are experiencing their own home.
It brought me to tears to see the light that the Kranti girls, the leader that was doing it, and how they're going through a kitchen. And I remember her stating, they're like, this is the first time, you guys, this is the first time they have their own kitchen. It still chokes me up, because these are people who were engaged in activities that they don't wanted to do, but they did it, and they were forced into being a sex slave, and they got themselves out of it, and they're helping others to get out, but they didn't have a proper place to do it. And this is where the book of being, the book of the ultimate coach, when we're coming from a place of service, a true place of service, what this can transform into the world. Not being selfish, not being judgmental, not being in a situation that's like, oh, this is not my problem. This is not in my country. This is not what I'm doing. It's such a global event that it was such a it was such a blessing to witness, to see, and to see where the money goes. And for you to deliver that to the world, especially for the 350 people who were in that room, who will never be able to explain that experience ever again. It was a true transformation, and it's a true understanding of, you gave your word that you were going to help. And it was, you created it, you created an experience, we created funds, but then you also gave them a location of security. That alone, my friend, is just transformational within itself. And I can't appreciate it any more than that.
Thank you so much, Bina. And I'm so thankful to all the people who contributed to this support. Having a dream or having a desire is something different. But when you see results so soon, it's just a journey of 9 months from when I declared this experience to the creation of the event, and then everything happening so fast. It's so fast that I was amazed when I went there. I had my lunch there, I had my dinner there, and I got to spend some time with these girls, and they're so happy. They were so grateful to everybody from across the world who donated. Most of the times we donate money, but we don't know what happened with the money.
Right.
Most of the times you say that you want to be service, but then you don't know how to be service. And this morning I had this insight that what's the use if you are a great player and you don't have a playground, and you want to be service, but you where would you be of help to? How would you be of help? And this event created a great opportunity for all of us to actually demonstrate being devoted service.
Yeah. This also demonstrates the power of being, right? You have to be fully present with yourself, fully present with being okay of not knowing the unknown, right? Being okay with the fears of, is this not going to work? Am I going to get anything? What's going to happen? And still being in a place of creation, right? In order for anything to go through, you've got to stay in action. And the power of you, Ranjan, is that no matter what, you stayed in action the entire time. Prior to this event, to even how now, me and you have multiple conversations, even after Mumbai, and you're still in this power of creation. And I really want to tap into this, because I really think this is really important for viewers to hear, that these events, it's an idea. It came from a thought, right? It came from this idea of like, how's this going to work? Not the how, it's just the idea of, hey, let's create. this ultimate coach event in Mumbai, right? From creation to how do I do this to how this is going to work, the how, you let all the hows go and you just did it. Huge difference, right?
Bina, to be very honest, I didn't have the how. I didn't know the how.
No,
And
you just did
there
it.
was there was a point when even we had arguments like, how are you going to do this, Ranjan? And I always had one answer. I don't know how. I don't know how, but I know that I'm going to do it. I know that this is going to happen, and I just know it. And you don't have words, you don't have language to explain that, but it's a language that you feel in your heart that it is going to happen, and it happened already for me. Now, coming back to the first point, it's very true, Bina. I didn't know that we are actually going to do it for Kranti Foundation. I didn't have any idea. At that point, I didn't have this mission. My only point was to bring back the understanding of a being-centered life to India. Why I say being back? Because I truly believe that India has been the land of spiritual essence and spiritual wisdom that we have been sharing to the entire world. So 25 years ago, when I was inspired from the life of Swami Vivekananda, even till I believe that we had this in our Vedas, we had this in our Bhagavad Gita, we had this in our Upanishads, but somewhere we got so entangled in the other philosophies that we were not coming from our own essence. And I thought the being-centered philosophy is where maybe it's coming back in a new format, but I really wanted to bring this back to India. And this was again a tribute to my mom because of the conversation that we had during the last 3 days before I lost her. But then at that point, I didn't know where the money would be going. And so today I believe that when you have the desire, when you have the right intention, when you start getting into action, and when you're committed to your journey, your mission appears. And you are directed by the laws of this nature to the rightest mission, which needs your service. And universe knows how to use you the best if you just surrender and if you just get committed to your.
And this brings me to my point. How, and this is where a lot of influencers, entrepreneurs, this is where I feel a lot of the times people get so tied up into, how do I do this? How do I know this is going to work? The hows, right? How do you explain to a new entrepreneur or to people who are listening to us now, how do you stay committed? Because commitment is in your journey. Commitment is where all of this kind of kept pushing and going to create this magnificent multi-dimension event that was a global event, not just in Mumbai. This was a global event. And some people are thinking like, this is impossible. This is impossible. How did he do this? This is impossible. I won't be able to do this. When in reality, the answer is, people, if you're listening, the answer is yes, you can. But I want you to explain, like, what is that level of commitment? What does that mean for you? And what can you teach the world right now? How do you implement that into their lives?
This C letter word, commitment, I would put this above the pyramid of 3 C's I call clarity, connection, and creation. And I say that when your entire journey is founded upon these 3 C's, the clarity of your purpose, the clarity of your intention, the clarity of where you're coming from. And when that is clear, the purpose, you know why you're doing it. You don't have the formula of doing it. You don't know how you're going to do it. But if your intentions are right, you're conveying to the universe your desire. That's not just a fabrication. That's vibrating at your deepest level. And as an entrepreneur, as a leader, can you imagine talking to a business leader who doesn't know his vision? Can you imagine talking
a business leader, I've had experiences. I asked, what's your vision? And on the website, I see two different visions on the same website of the company. And he says, in the first place, he was not even aware that the company had a vision. And I'm talking to the business owner, the leader, entrepreneur. And he is in a rush to create results, not knowing two things, where he's coming from or where he's headed to. Now, so that's what I say, the clarity. And that clarity is not 100% clarity of the results, but it's the clarity of the purpose, the clarity of the why, the clarity of who you are being in your journey. And this journey of creating this event was an experience for me to understand my own being, understand, to develop the ability to come from that clarity. And so the first thing I would say is clarity. The second thing I would say is connection. I've seen leaders, entrepreneurs who are super excited, enthusiastic. They are energetic, they're dynamic, they want to put all the systems in place, they want to put all the processes in place. But the point is, they don't have time to reflect on who they are being for themselves, who they're being towards their own family, who they're being towards their own employees, who they're being towards their own leaders. Now, I would say that the connection, which is what people talk about culture, but the culture comes from connection. And yes,
I think a lot of people I think a lot of people miscue this, right? People think that, oh, if I change the culture, then everyone's going to feel better. But in reality, if you change the connection, the culture will change.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And culture is not an abstract thing. It is a real thing.
It
and
is.
And it is a top-down thing. It is a leader to the employee thing. And it's not about leader disconnecting himself from the organization entity,
right,
and saying that I need culture in the company, but I have nothing to do with it. So I would say that the second most important thing in this whole journey was connection. I was talking to people from across the world. Yes, I have had tough times in relationship conversations, and then there were times when I had to apologize. There were times when people apologized. There were times when we had arguments. There were times when we had disagreements. But this is how we grow. This is how we learn. But the
and
point
having those
is
hard conversations, but not letting go of the connection, owning what you did wrong, stating, I have been inauthentic in this situation, but this is what I did wrong, owning it, but this is how I can still contribute is huge.
Yes. And the most important thing in the part of connection was listening, because I had people offering me suggestions, people offering me help, people offering me support from all over. And I learned to listen. And this was most important thing, to build connections. So the second point is connection through listening. And the third one was creation. When you understand that creation happens inside out, and so anything that has to be created outside first has to be created inside. So it's inside out. And that's where I decided that for anything to happen on the outside, for this event to be successful, I have to be someone who's going to be committed to make it successful. And that's where comes the fourth one, which you said is commitment. Beyond everything, when you are committed, I'm sure the whole world is going to rally behind you. They're going to help you. They're going to support you. And which is how I got supported by all of you.
Yeah. So Ranjan, I want to rephrase what you said, because this is so I have now spoken to several different high level, just like you, entrepreneurs, whether they're $1 million, billionaires, whatever the situation is. And it comes back down to the simplicity of what you stated. So I want to just reiterate that. So the first step is getting clarity, is what I'm hearing you say. Clarity of what it is that your mission, what you want to do in your life, finding your purpose, finding your true purpose. And people who know me and that knows me from my academy and everything else, this is what I preach on, the same thing. So I'm happy you said exactly what is everyone else is saying, because there's no secret sauce, right? It's
absolutely
not, there's nothing secret about this. People ask me these questions, and this is why I asked you this question is because I get asked this same question. And I want people to hear it from other people. And this is why I'm doing this entrepreneur talks, is so people can hear it from multiple successful people that there's no secret sauce, no clarity, know your purpose, right? That's what I'm hearing you say with that. Second one is the connections, really listening to the deep, active, listening to what they're offering you, asking for help, asking the community for what it is, changing the culture from within to come out, right? The fourth one, the creation, it starts with you. The creation has to start within you. You got to change your mind, your balance. You got to be fully centered with who you are, with what you want to do. So it shines. I call it like a Care Bear light. It's like the Care Bear light that just shines out, comes in. And then the third one, that's where then only until you have those three is what I'm hearing you say, is that's when true commitment is formed.
Exactly. No, what I'm saying is that commitment obviously has to be
Right.
there.
But
Commitment
then
always
the
has to
commitment
be
is-
there.
Yeah.
Yes. So what I'm saying is when you are committed,
Mhm.
all of these also, even if let's say you don't have 100% of clarity, you don't have 100% of connection, you don't have 100% of understanding of how creation happens, but when you're committed with the right intention of serving, all of these things fall into line. They fall in right place.
Thank you for that clarification. I appreciate that. Because I think that's where a lot of people, including myself, where it becomes blurry, right? This is where a lot of people go, it's a blurry line. But what I've also learned in my own career, in my own life, is that if you are committed to something, if your commitment is shining, then you're right. Everything else comes into play, because it's just the creation part becomes easy, because you're looking within yourself for the answer, because the answer is right there. You don't have to ask 1,000 people. You just got to look within yourself. And if you look strong enough and if you look hard enough, the answer is right in front of you. And I had this realization over this past weekend at Game Changer with Devin Banison. And I'm telling you, I was struggling with this commitment part. And everyone's like, Bina, you're the most committed person I've met. You're with your word. But I said, but there's still a higher level of commitment that you're talking about that I didn't fully understand until I went to Game Changer either last weekend or the week. I think it was just last weekend. Time is going by so fast these days. And it's true. Like when you're committed to your passion, when you're committed to your life purpose, the clarity, the connections, the creation just falls into place.
Absolutely. I didn't have 100% clarity. I didn't know how I'm going to do it. I didn't know who I'm going to connect with. But this is what I learned from Steve Harrison. Always, he used to remind me, Ranjan, you don't have to do it alone.
Yeah.
Be open to ask. Be willing to ask. Be willing to receive help.
Yeah.
And when you do that, you ask 100 people, at least 50 of them helped you.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't ask anyone, you don't receive help. It's a game over even before the game has started. And although I declared it, although I announced it, although I played the major role in this, but I would say that this is not just me alone who created the event. All of us created this together. There were hundreds of people who committed to make a post on social media, on Facebook, on YouTube. There were hundreds of videos made. There were lakhs of words written. There were hundreds of conversations that I was having. People were messaging me to offer me support and help. Even people who I never heard of, never seen, they messaged me on Facebook, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, and they connected and they say, Ranjan, how do you want us to help you? We are here. We want to help you. Now imagine, you just know that you're creating it. You passed on that idea to the world. Now the world captures the idea and is rallying behind you to support you. But that happens when you're committed to the purpose.
I love this because I was one of the people that actually reached out to you and asked you
Yes.
if I can help. So
Yes,
what I'm hearing you say in entrepreneurship, you have to be okay for asking for help from strangers.
absolutely. Entrepreneurship itself is a mindset.
Yes.
Now, when you are installing or you are coming from an entrepreneurial spirit and mindset, obviously you are exploring.
Yes.
And I call this the Vasco da Gama, the way of life. You just don't know where you're headed. You are in the wild seas.
Yeah.
But then you know that you are on a mission.
Yes. And I want to take a moment here. When I asked you for help, the number one thing that being here, being with the nurse coaches, coming in to help you guys, we even said, there's a powerful thing I want to remind people is you didn't turn me away. You know what I don't know if you remember what you said to me. You know what you said to me? You said, do you mind just posting this on your wall? You gave me a
Yes.
script that says, here is a script. I'll even make it easy for you. Do you mind just sharing this on your wall and tagging as 50 to 60, I think you told me like 80 people that I know of. I think it was around that time, whatever the max was to tag people on. And he says, that is exactly how you're helping.
Exactly.
By one post.
And yes. And you don't know like who might have read that one post because they were on your list and they would have read that. They would have either donated money or they would have come to Mumbai or they would have shared this message with some of their friends. Now imagine you and me together could have impacted hundreds of people.
And this is why it's so pivotal for entrepreneurs who are listening to understand that it's okay to share other people's glory, other people's wishes, other people's dreams onto their social media or onto their platform, because there is no scarcity.
Exactly.
There's no scarcity. There is no judgment. There is no, hey, I'm not going to put Ranjan's post because it's might help me out or might not help me out. That thought didn't even come to my head. My thought was, how am I here to help you? How am I here to serve? How am I here to help grow this ultimate coach experience to be even better than what it was? And that's how I was able to get myself and 3 other nurse coaches to be committed to going to Mumbai. We called it the Bina movement, stayed with me. But it's just that, and the whole drive of that came from is, Ranjan, how can I support you?
Absolutely. And imagine I had hundreds of people supporting me, asking me, Ranjan, what can I do for you? What can I do for you? But this happens. I still remember the last call from Steve Harrison before leaving India. He made a call and he said, Ranjan, I'm going to leave India in 4 hours. And this is what I want you to know. Anything and everything that happened in the entire process happened because of your commitment.
Yeah.
And I want you to know that. And I know that he was not just appreciating me. He was drawing my attention to this word commitment.
Right. And another word we hear a lot is the messy action, right? A lot of people always hear this, what's messy action? What does that mean? What does this entail? So can you describe for yourself, what does messy action mean for you? And how did that help you be successful in what you're doing even to today?
Absolutely. The most messiest thing that happened was my presence. My presence was different. I was being judgmental. I was being judgmental upon myself. I was being judgmental towards others. And my listening was not this listening. Although I had a practice of 25 years, I had been a speaker, I had been a trainer, but then listening from your authentic self is something different. And listening for the sake of listening is different. And the best thing happened that yes, there were messy conversations, we had arguments, we had disagreements, we had so many things, but then I'm not the same person again. I'm a different leader. And as Devon says, like, fatherhood is leadership. And I, being a single father of my 2 kids for the last 6 years, I'm a different father, man. I'm a different leader at home. I'm a different leader in my workshops. I'm a different person altogether. And this has happened because of the messiness that I was willing to go through. And entrepreneurship is about being vulnerable.
Yeah.
And when you have the courage to be vulnerable, people are there to correct you, people are there to help you, because I still believe that we are designed to respond, only that we forget it.
Yeah.
And in the process of being available for the messiness, you're also being available for your natural potential to respond. And you build that muscle of responding.
So what I'm hearing you say is just when you're being in a messy action, it keeps you vulnerable, but it also keeps you uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
And being uncomfortable is when you grow the most.
Absolutely. And when you're willing and offering yourself to be in that mess, that is when you are telling the universe that I'm here, I'm available, please use me.
Oh, that's so powerful. And I love that you're in India right now. I'm in the US now, and the same language is what we're talking, right?
Yes,
We're talking about love, commitment, messy actions, deep listening, connections, clarity. And it all starts, and Steve's the best person to say this, it all starts from a conversation. It all started from that conversation of when me and you
absolutely.
spoke back, I don't even know, maybe a year ago at this point now. I'm not
Yeah,
sure. But it all starts from that conversation. And you just don't know where the journey is going to take you. But being
absolutely.
open to the journey is key.
Exactly. I just had a conversation with Steve Hardison just about an hour ago, and I he shared something magnificent. And he shared that, Ranjan, do you know where the music is? He asked me, Ranjan, do you know where the music is? And he said, the music is between the notes.
Mhm. Mm. Mhm.
And what I made out of it for myself is the music is between the events, the music is between the incidents.
Yeah.
It's not at that point. It's actually what happens, what you are available to, and how you make yourself available to the universe to work through you between those incidents that decide your potential, your growth as someone who responds consciously to the next level of next event or the
Right.
next incident that happens in life, or the next decision that you have to take as a businessman or a leader, business leader, or an entrepreneur.
Right. That's beautiful because it makes sense to me now. And as entrepreneurs go through their journey and really truly understand this art, because it's a form of art, whether you appreciate it or you don't. And the minute you
Yes,
start appreciating this way of being and really looking internally first, right? Putting the work in for yourself, the music between the notes, it's a beautiful saying because music is not just created just like that. It's created from a thought to then put work in, and it's practiced and practiced until they get the tune correct. That's true
exactly.
for themselves. And once that tune or that harmony or that beautiful note is created, that's only when everyone else is able to appreciate it because they're able to listen to it. And it's so beautiful because it's so true. The music is between the notes, and it's a beautiful way
Absolutely.
it goes in.
No, as an entrepreneur, you have systems to take care of, you have people
Right.
to take care of, your profits to take care of, your processes to take, you have everything to take care of. And I say the music is not there. The music is here in your presence,
Yeah.
in you being the leader, leading it consciously inside out.
Right. And you guys, and for you guys that are like starting out or comes in, this takes time, right? This type of being, this type of creation, this type of like this is not something that happens overnight. I want people to understand that. It's like riding a bike, right? When you start riding a bike, you're not just riding, maybe some people do. You don't ride a bike just right off without training wheels and bam, the first time you're on a bike, you're just going to fly straight through and you're totally fine, right? It takes time. It takes practice. You're going to fall. Maybe you're on training wheels. You're going to fall a couple of times. You might break a bone. You might get up, but it's the commitment level in yourself to get back on that bike and to learn it, because it's muscle memory, right? You got to do it. And then all of a sudden, it's like this energy when you get the bike to ride by itself without training wheels and you're riding, and all of a sudden your mind, your body, everything's connected and you're focused, you're committed. That's when it just works. And I love seeing children, men, women, older women, whoever it is, when they're riding a bike, because if you take that same type of commitment into business, into life, into however it is that you're doing and not giving up, you're sticking to the process. It's just like riding a bike. Once you ride a bike, once you
Absolutely.
learn how to ride a bike, you're never going to forget. 'Cause it's muscle-
Exactly. And you won't enjoy the ride. You won't enjoy that successful ride unless you enjoy falling down.
Exactly. Yeah. And you have to. You got to remember that. I don't know about you, but I remember
Yes.
falling so many times.
Exactly. So I always recall the Karan Rise experience with Steve Harrison when he had to do that rework on himself as an entrepreneur. He went back after his coaching with Steve Harrison, and it took him about 3 months to create the entrepreneur inside before he got back into the game.
And
Patience.
patience. I love synchronicity. Synchronicity.
Patience.
Doesn't happen overnight.
Yes.
People are not where they are if it was like within 20 hours, whatever it is. Like, it doesn't happen. It's a muscle memory that needs to be built. It's something that needs to be created within, and you're going to fall. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to learn, and that's okay. Just
Yes.
riding a bike. But you just got to get back up and just keep moving on, because we promise you that it's going to work. You just got to put the time in.
Absolutely.
Ranjan, I know before we start handing out, I want you to talk about your book, because I'm really excited about this.
Oh,
Your
yes.
Your second book that came out. You gave me a video of it, and I was like, oh my God, I want to talk about your book.
Thank you so much, Bina.
Yeah.
This book, I was inspired by the thoughts. I don't know if you can see this book, Hit Your Restart Button. Now, hit your restart button, because I have restarted my life about 10 times in the last 25 years. And I know that we all go through that. But I always was looking for something to help me help others consciously restart their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And I put everything in this book that I learned, I applied. But honestly saying, after writing the book, after having written the book and then it turning into an Amazon bestseller, life happens, and then I forgot my own book. I forgot my own creation.
I remember the video you sent me. You're like, Bina, look what came in the mail.
And I forgot my own book. I was not celebrating it. I was not sharing about it. I was not owning the value of my own creation. And then I realized, boy, this is the right time. Now that I realized that, I must share about it, because this is what happens. And I remember, I remember Karan sharing with me that, Ranjan, sometimes Karan ran this marathon, 7 marathons on 7 different continents on 7 different consecutive days, 7 days. Yeah. And he said, Ranjan, after a month of that, maybe I was in a restaurant and a lady introduced me to somebody saying that this is Karan Rai and he did this. I was like, wow, is that me? And sometimes you don't own the value of your own creations. And that's when it's time you hit your restart button. You own your value, you own your authority, and you own your creations, and you get back into the game and you start creating something new. And this book is the perfect book for this time, as we are nearing the new year again, because new year is the time like everybody's back to let's create something new. And this book is, I would say, the owner's manual of how you restart your life.
And you guys, the link will be attached below to this particular book. But the irony of this is how we were talking about creation and how it comes in. The irony is he truly forgot he wrote the book.
Yes. And most surprisingly,
I remember you opening it up, and I remember you going, you sent me a video and you're like, Bina, I forgot I wrote this book. And I remember writing it back, like, how do you forget you wrote a book? Like, what?
Yeah, and most importantly, the book that inspired me to write this book was Man's Search for Meaning. And I found that, oh, yes, I have to make meaning. And then I decided to share my learnings in this book. I did it. It turned a #2 Amazon bestseller in existential psychology category. Surprisingly, my book was juxtaposed right beside Man's Search for Meaning, which was the #1. Imagine this, when you have your book right beside the book that inspired you on the Amazon bestseller list in less than 15 days, and you forget that. Imagine. And I was
Synchronicity, right? I always talk about this. It's all about the synchronicity in life. You're supposed to,
Yes.
you were right where you need to be in your life. But yeah, I don't have an answer for you on how you forgot your own book. But I am going to acknowledge you for remembering it. And that's why I want to appreciate you today for reminding the world that you have a second book out.
Yes. And I'm going to have my third one soon.
Wow, you're just on a roll. I love it. I love it. You know, and I want to appreciate you, Ranjan. You are one of the most humblest man alive, and you are true to your word. You are an inspiration inside and out. And you guys, whoever has not been following Ranjan, need to follow him. I'm not telling you what you do in your life. You do what you need to do. But if you want to be inspired, if you want to be able to really motivate yourself, or to even motivate from his story. We didn't even get to the, like me and Ranjan can talk for hours. We can literally go off topic and start on tangents. And his story, follow him, because his story is so inspiring. And you can hit your restart button. And all it takes is for you to literally push a button that says, I hit restart, clean slate, create a new story for yourself, and just move forward. And knowing Ranjan, as long as I've known him and I got to know him on certain personal levels, this is the man that is literally a living proof of that. And I can't wait to read your book. It's on my list. It's actually should be coming the next couple of days. I can't wait to read it. And it's always a pleasure with you, Ranjan. Like I said, you're just a blessing you're a blessing from above. That's all I can say.
Thank you so much, Bina. Thank you so much.
All right, guys, below, I'll put the link down below for the hit restart. I'll actually put in the link for his first book as well. Put it down below. I'll put his contact information down below. This will be on live. This will stay on my Facebook Live. This will be turned into a YouTube clip. So you can also watch it on YouTube as well. Give me about a week or a couple of days to get that up and running. And we will see you guys all next time. I will be having other entrepreneurial talks coming here and there. So if you guys want to be a participant or comes in, just want to have a conversation, please reach out to me. I am Bina Bendale. This is Ranjan Kumar. And today for Entrepreneurial Talk, this is the end of our time today together.
Thank you so much, Bina. I love this conversation creation. I wish the best for everybody who listens to our conversation. Love you all. Love you, Bina. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.